day everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Lola Reads, and today I'll be reviewing a book, A Dowry of Blood by S.T Gibson. So I've never read any book from this particular author. This is the first book I'm coming across, and I stumbled on this book anyway. It's not like I had any recommendation previously or I've heard of the book before. I just saw the book and the cover attracted me. Yes, there was just something about the cover that drew me in. When I saw the cover, the cover had this, I wasn't sure if it's a lady or a dead person or a skeleton in this Victorian era gown with this veil over her face, and then they had these spiders on the side and skulls and all that. It had this horror feel, scary. I wasn't scared anyway, but like it has that feel like, oh, this story is supposed to be scary, and that was what attracted me to it. That was why I decided to read the book. And I know we're not supposed to judge books by their covers, right? But yes, I did judge this one, and I judged it positively. I judged it enough for me to read it. So that was why I picked this book. But I've never read anything from this author. This was my first time. So this story, A Dowry of Blood, it starts with this woman whose village had just been raided. She happened to be one of the casualties in the raid, and she was dying. Yes, she was on the ground in the middle of the road, slowly dying. Blood was seeping out of her, and she was struggling for life, but like it was quite obvious that she would die any moment soon. And while waiting for death to come, this person comes to meet her and sees her struggling in her hour of death. Yes, I'll say person because the gender was not defined, and it was one of the things that kept me going, because the gender wasn't really defined. I didn't want to assume it was a man, so it kept me interested. I think that was what made me to decide to continue to read the story. So this person comes and sees her struggling with life, and he was watching her with these pitiful eyes, and he decided to tell her, oh wow, even at this point of death, when it's so obvious that you're going to die right now, you are still hanging on. And that is what I like about you. I already admire this about you, and because of this, I'm going to give you your own name. You'll be called Constanta. So he named her Constanta, and then he kept watching her, waiting for her to die. And when it was at the millisecond of life left in her, if I define that correctly, right, as in she was just about to die, then this person offers her his blood to drink. And she started to drink on the blood. She found it was sort of, she didn't like the taste, but it was sort of like addictive. She kept sucking on his blood and all that, and before she realized it, she just saw that she was powerful, and she saw that she had started to come back to life. She wasn't dying anymore. She had started to gain strength and all that. Something had changed in her. And so after sucking on the blood and having enough strength, she follows this person to where he lives, and they start to stay together. This person calls her this person's wife. I'm trying my best not to use the pronoun he or his, because like I said, it wasn't defined all throughout the story. It wasn't defined. The gender was not defined. So this person calls her the person's wife. Yes, if I can say it that way. So she starts to live with this person as a wife, and the person taught her how to hunt prey, which are humans. So she starts to feed on humans, and then she remembered what caused the raiding of her village and how the whole of her family was killed. And it was this person who had saved her. So she started to enact vengeance on the people who wiped out her village and killed her family. So she just kept living with this person, kept exploring her new strengths, her new powers and all that. So at this point, definitely she had become a vampire at this point, because drinking on this person's blood and whatever, that's vampire stuff. So I didn't even know it was going to have anything to do with vampires. But anyway, we move. So after some time, this person tells her, yes, she was from Romania. So all these things happened in Romania, right? So after some time, this person tells her, okay, it's time for them to move to Venice. They move. So we realized throughout the book, or no, we realized at the beginning of the book, that she and this person moved to a new city. They spend a few years there together as a couple, and then the person is like, oh, we should try somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else. So they move. They stay a few years. They move. They stay a few years, and so on and so forth. So there was a particular move that they made to a new city, and she followed the person and realized that the person was actually moving to this new city to meet another woman. They meet the other woman. Her name is Magnolia. And then when they meet Magnolia, Magnolia is a human. Magnolia welcomes them. She hosts them to her home and all of that. And then she notices that the person that she's married to is flirting seriously with Magnolia. She's kind of jealous, but this person makes her feel like, well, what I'm doing is okay, you know. The person makes her feel like, well, you know, we've been together for a couple of decades together, and it's just the two of us. I don't want it to be lonely for you, so I would like to have Magnolia as a wife as well, so she can keep you company. That the person didn't expressly say it like this to her, to Constanta, but the way he was behaving and some of the little comments he was making was suggesting such to her. So she sort of accepted Magnolia, and the person changes Magnolia into a vampire. She drinks the person's blood and also drinks Constanta's blood, right? So she also becomes a vampire. And this person is she's of noble birth, and she has interest in politics and going around the world, sightseeing and all that. So when Magnolia joins them, they have to leave the town that Magnolia stays. So she leaves everything behind, her wealth, everything that she has gathered, or rather everything her family has gathered for her, she leaves it behind. And they move to a new city. So in the new city, Magnolia and Constanta are together. They are like sisters now, who are both sister wives, right? Who are both married to the same person. This person always wants to monitor their behavior. They have to tell him everywhere they are going. They have to tell him whatever they are doing. They have to tell him whenever they feel like getting a prey to feed on. They have to tell him everything. He doesn't just allow them to go, and he always supervises them. Sorry, I'm using the pronoun he. That was a mistake. So this person always supervises them wherever they go and whatever they do, to the extent that it's almost like they're in bondage, or rather they actually, because at this point Constanta sees that they are in bondage. Magnolia doesn't realize that yet. So they are always bound to the house, and the person will allow them to go whenever he wants them to go out. There was a time Constanta tried to run away, and when the person noticed that she had left the house, he was able to get where she went to. She went to a church because she felt lost, she felt frustrated, she felt infuriated, and she just thought going to the church was the best thing to do, to talk to God and all that. But this person came to meet her there and was like, you don't ever try that again, because if you do that, you're going to regret what's going to happen to you, all that. And whenever Constanta asks questions about their kind, okay, where do our kind come from? How is our kind formed? Why does our kind feed on what they feed on? How can our kind, all those kind of questions, the person doesn't answer. He just says, oh, you're not mature enough to know anything about our kind. Just make sure that you do everything I want you to do, and everything will be fine. That's all that this person tells her. On the other hand, her sister bride Magnolia is the type who like to, based on her past life, she likes to host parties and she likes to meet people and discuss politics, and she continues to do this after becoming a vampire. She keeps hosting people and the rest. She keeps writing letters to friends and associates and the rest. But after some time, the person stops her from meeting with people. And when she asks why would you stop me from doing that? He says, well, the thing is, some of these people who you are writing letters to are probably dead because time has passed. You are not aging, but every other person that you know has aged and they have died. So it will be weird for their children or their other family members to be receiving letters from you. How come the people who are in the same age group with you are all dead and you're still writing? So that was his reason for stopping her. And he completely stops her from meeting people, from hosting parties. He just shuts her out of the world. I'm sorry, I'm using he again. That was a mistake. So the person shuts her out of the world. Please forgive me for that. Because Magnolia is or was used to socializing and mixing with people, and all of a sudden she was banned from doing such. She didn't have any interaction with the outside world except the person and her sister Constanta. It started to affect Magnolia. She started having withdrawal, she started having depression, she was melancholic and everything. She would stay in her room for days. She won't interact with any of them. And when she does that for a certain period of time, she will just snap out of it after some time, and she'll start to act okay. She'll start to act cheerful and, talk to her sister, talk to the person, and they all relate as normal. After some time again, she lapses into the depressed mood and all. So it was beginning to worry the person and Constanta. And the person was like, okay, the solution is for them to also move again from where they are staying. Maybe a new place and a fresh start is going to help Magnolia. So they move to another city. And then when they move there, the person introduces Constanta and Magnolia to a man, to a boyish man, sort of. Okay, he's a boy, almost getting into adulthood, and his name was Alexi. So he introduces the two of them to Alexi, and just like in the case of Magnolia, just like in the case of when he wanted, sorry, I'm using he again, just like in the case when the person wanted to marry Magnolia, this person was acting exactly the same way, trying to make it look like, okay, they need Alexi in their family. The person needs to marry Alexi to expand their family so that Magnolia and Constanta don't feel lonely and all that. And because it had happened, because Constanta has seen such a thing happen before, she calls the person aside and says, no, let's not do this to Alexi. He's a young boy who hasn't even experienced anything out of life. We should leave him alone and get someone else who has lived their life already. So the person, so that whoever it is does not miss out on anything. But he keeps convincing her, no, and he has spoken to Alexi, and the person has spoken to Alexi. Alexi has agreed. So, but she was like, no, she doesn't agree. And he kept telling her, if you don't agree, this is not going to work. We need Alexi in the family and all that. But because Constanta saw that Alexi and Magnolia got along immediately, and Constanta thought maybe having Alexi in the family was going to help Magnolia so that she doesn't slide into depression, Constanta accepted. So Alexi follows them, and the person converts Alexi into a vampire. So Alexi and Magnolia have the same character in the sense that they are both sociable. So when Alexi just joins the family, he starts hosting his own parties, he starts inviting people from all over. It interests Magnolia. She's happy having someone who likes the same thing as she does with her in the same family. And the person had actually warned Alexei not to invite anyone. He doesn't want anyone around them. He doesn't want them just going anywhere. He has to give permission and all that. But Alexei didn't listen. So Alexei was holding a party. Constanta was aware and she allowed it. The person wasn't around. So when the person came in and met a party, he was so angry. He pounced on one of Alexei's guests and he ripped the guy's throat out. So this scares the rest of Alexei's guests. They run away, and then the person says, okay, now that this has happened, we are forced to leave this place. So they pack up and they leave, and that gets on Alexei's nerve. So Alexei challenges this person. How dare you destroy my party? How dare you scatter all this stuff? Why don't you want us to mix with anyone? Why do you want to tie us down in a place? And the person realizes that Alexei is different from Magnolia and Constanta in the sense that Alexei has confidence. Maybe because he's young, he has the confidence to stand up to this person. And whenever the person tells him to do certain things, Alexei Alexei doesn't want to do, he won't do them, no matter the amount of convincing. They begin to have friction. The person and Alexei begin to have friction, and Constanta is like a mother to Alexei. So whenever Alexei and this person have any friction, Alexei will come to Constanta and tell her everything, and she pets him, she begs him to be patient, to be calm. This is the kind of family we find ourselves in. You just have to manage and all that. So they grow close, like a mother-son relationship is what they have. And Constanta realizes that it's getting on this person's nerve. This person is actually jealous of the relationship they have. So he tries to run the person tries to run Constanta down by saying, oh, the only reason Alexei is talking to you is because I and Magnolia, we don't have his time. We don't have time for his tantrums. So he's coming to you. You're just old. You're not useful anymore in this family. And some cruel stuff. I found those very cruel stuff. He's telling Constanta, or rather, this person is telling Constanta very cruel stuff. And they are tired. Like, Alexei is really tired of being locked up in the house, not going out, because he didn't imagine that is the kind of life he will live as a vampire. On this particular day, this person goes out hunting for his prey, and he catches a village boy. He starts to suck the village boy, drain his blood, right? He was feeding on this village boy. And while feeding on the boy was almost dead when another villager caught him feeding on this village boy, and all hell was let loose. So he goes back to his house, where he tells Constanta what happened. He has been caught feeding on this village boy, and he believes that the villagers are coming for him. And Constanta was like, so what are we going to do? Do we start packing up and leave? And he says, no, there are just a few villagers. We are 4 of us, so they can't do anything to us. We are going to stay here. This is our home. We're not going anywhere. He was quite confident that nothing will happen to them. So he says, the 4 of them can take the villagers down. They are not going to do anything. That's if the villagers want to try anything funny, they are going to attack and they will win. And so he just sits back in the house and does nothing. Constanta takes it upon herself to tell the rest of the family what has happened and what they should be expecting. And that's when Alexei tells Constanta, we should use this as an opportunity to get rid of this person. And Constanta is like afraid. It's not like she hasn't had that thought herself. She has thought about it. She has thought about getting rid of this person. But because of the fear that she has had, seeing the things that this person has done to other people over the years, it has put this certain fear in her. she's afraid to do whatever it takes to get rid of him. But Alexei, who doesn't know anything, who is the newest member, says, okay, this is our opportunity. We can get rid of this person and be free to do whatever we want. And she's scared. That's Constanta is scared. Magnolia is scared. But very soon, Magnolia actually agrees with Alexei, and then Constanta agrees, and they all plan it. They all plan what to do. The thing is that before all this happens, Constanta had come upon a secret in this person's library when he was not around, that the way to kill vampires is by putting a stake through their heart, right? This is the secret that this person had never told Constanta, but she found it out when she was snooping around in his library when he was not at home. So because of this knowledge that she has, she shared this knowledge with Alexei and Magnolia, and they plan, and they are like, okay, so they do this hush-hush plan that we are not really told of in the novel. So this person is actually quite confident that nothing is going to happen to him. He takes a bath. Constanta, Magnolia, and Alexei give him a nice bath. He goes to the room, and for some funny reason, this person thinks that is the right time to have sex with the three of them. Funny enough. So they actually play along with his game, trying to act like they are getting ready and all that. And then Alexei and Magnolia pin this person down, and Constanta puts the stake through his heart, and he dies, right? So when he dies, they know, Constanta, Alexei, and Magnolia know that the villagers are almost at the doorstep. So they take this person's body and they offer it to the villagers and say, you know what, do whatever you want with his body. This is him, he's already dead. So while the villagers are there doing whatever they do or whatever they wanted to do to the body, Alexei, Magnolia, and Constanta escape through the back door. They leave the city, and on the next day, they go to the seaport. Alexei boards a ship to some part of the world where he plans to, or where he told them he was going to be an actor. Magnolia also goes to some other place for studies, and Constanta decides to remain behind, and they promise each other that they're going to keep contact with each other. They're going to keep contact with themselves, and they are going to, like, it's like they are going to remain a family, right? But they are not going to hold each other back from exploring the world like they want to. So according to the book, Constanta isn't really sure what she wants to do with her life, but she's okay that her children sort of are free. And that's where the book ends. That was the end of that story. So from what I've discovered, that book is the Dowry of Blood is the first book in a Dowry of Blood series. So this is where the first book ends. Now my thoughts on this book. You know, like I said, the cover drew me in, and the fact that this person who has saved Constanta from death, this vampire who has saved Constanta from death, at the beginning of the story, I found him intriguing. I found him cold. Like, I want vampires to be cold, right? This vampire was described exactly the way I wanted the vampire to be described. Cold, heartless, and I liked it. It's because of that character I was able to follow the story. But I don't know, along the line, I believe the character's point, I wish this person was explained more clearly to me, because the reason why he decides to lock them up, that's lock his family up, make sure that they don't interact with anyone, the reason why he wants them to always be under his nose all the time, always wants to follow them, I don't know. I wish it was explained to me, the reason why he was doing that, because it's quite confusing to see a vampire trying to make this family. Why will you make a family of vampires just to keep them in the house? it sort of didn't make any sense to me because it wasn't explained. And the last part of the story where he got caught feeding on the village boy, and he runs back to the house and tells Constanta everything, and he decides not to run away. I don't know, it didn't add up. I didn't get that part, honestly speaking. I didn't get that part, because if he was able to change places because Magnolia was depressed, right? Because then why wouldn't he change, or why wouldn't he try to run away when he was caught red-handed feeding on the village boy? I don't know. And then the villagers were coming close to the house. He could hear this person could hear them. Everyone in the family could hear them coming. There was tension, right? Because you know that they are coming with the aim of cutting off this person's head, and then somehow this person just somehow feels that that's the best time to have sex. Really? I don't know. It didn't seem realistic to me. That part didn't seem realistic, honestly speaking. It didn't make sense. I'm still trying to think about it. Doesn't make any sense, because why would sex be the thing that will cross his mind at that point in time? I don't know. Or is it that he's a perv, or what? Sorry, not a he. Is this person a perv? This person trying to lock the family up, making sure they don't interact with anyone. I feel like it's probably an allegory, or I guess the author is trying to explain maybe overprotective parents. I guess maybe the author is trying to explain how overprotective parents can be. Maybe symbolism or something, but overprotective parents have their reasons. So if this was supposed to be symbolism, we're supposed to see the reason why he was doing that. The story failed to explain that. So that was where they lost me. That was where the story lost me, honestly speaking. So I rate the book 3 out of 5. I rate it there because the story went down at a certain point for me. If it didn't have those parts that I found confusing, it would have been a solid 4. But for those parts, there are some parts that were just so confusing. So it's a 3. It's a 3 over 5, or 3 out of 5 rather, for me. That is my review so far, and I hope I read the other books in this series. I do hope to read the other books in this series, and I wish it will continue with Constanta, Magnolia, and Alexei. That's what I would have loved, but I'm guessing it won't. Maybe they will take on new characters. I don't know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will need you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care now. Bye.